Watch this.
Let's kick off the week on the 208. Here's what's in store for you. State of Idaho is back in the national headlines on the topic of abortion. The Gem State filed a new lawsuit challenging access to mifepristone. Boise County EMS District is asking voters for help. They need resources to provide emergency services.
Today's world and economy is really hard for people to keep volunteering and having the hours that we require and that we need for service.
But what happens if the ballot question fails? Aspen dives in for us.
It's so much fun when you actually see something like this come out, especially out of essentially your office.
A gem of a historical find. We'll take you to one of the headquarters of Idaho's most precious treasures, where they found more precious history. After a technical loss at the Supreme Court on the topic of the abortion drug mifepristone, Idaho is back in the headlines with a new legal challenge. You may remember over the summer, the United States Supreme Court unanimously preserved access to mifepristone that is commonly used for abortion care along with a secondary medicine. SCOTUS essentially dismissed that suit, though, because the groups that filed it did not have proper legal standing. So the states of Idaho, Kansas, and Missouri are taking a new run at it. And the suit targets the FDA and their rules on mifepristone. To be clear, in Idaho, mifepristone remains illegal, but it is legal to go get it in a place like Oregon or Washington and then use it in Idaho, which the suit claims federal rules are allowing and encouraging that. The suit claims that federal rules are also allowing Idahoans to order and get abortion pills from out of state, despite Idaho law banning it. Arguments inside the new court filings are drawing national attention. A new lawsuit from Idaho, Missouri, and Kansas aims to change federal regulations on the abortion pill mifepristone. Medical experts explain that pill is used to terminate early pregnancy by reducing levels of the hormone progesterone, which stops the pregnancy from progressing. The lawsuit looks to roll back the Food and Drug Administration's changes that expanded access to mifepristone, things like allowing prescriptions by telemedicine that are mailed to patients. The plaintiffs argue that FDA rules are allowing women, namely younger women, to get abortions in states like Idaho that have near total abortion bans. The states are arguing that younger women are more likely to order abortion medications or use abortion finders online to self-manage their abortion care, which they argue is, quote, depressing expected birth rates for teenage mothers in plaintiff states. The suit then says this causes injury to states like Idaho because a smaller population diminishes political representation, and that could result in the loss of a seat in Congress or qualifying for less federal funding. Among other things, the nearly 200-page suit focuses on abortion shield laws that have been passed in some states to protect providers who prescribe and mail abortion pills. The argument? Acts like that violate state sovereignty. A subsection on page 75 says the defendants, the FDA, as a result, created a 50-state mail-order abortion drug economy. 8 states, they say, have embraced the defendants' actions and passed shield laws looking to facilitate providers conducting out-of-state mail-order abortions and to prevent the plaintiff states, like Idaho, from enforcing their state laws. The trio of states is asking a federal court in Texas to ban the use of mifepristone after 7 weeks of pregnancy, restoring the FDA's previous requirement of 3 in-person doctor visits to get the medication. They are arguing that the pill should ultimately be administered and monitored with a physician's presence. And despite claims otherwise, the FDA does continue to say that, yes, mifepristone is safe. And the FDA said that they approved the drug more than 20 years ago through comprehensive and scientific research. And I did just get a statement back from the AG's office, so I just want to read from my email here. Idaho's suit does not seek to ban access to mifepristone, but asks the court to reinstate protections for women that the FDA removed when it prioritized politics over the health and safety of mothers of every age. It goes on to say that abortion activists are misleading the public public by intentionally misrepresenting one paragraph, which we just highlighted, in a 200-page complaint. It goes on to say that nobody wants teen pregnancies to increase, and any suggestion to the contrary is absurd, false, and misleading. But the statement ends saying that when teens do become pregnant, the life of the teen mother and the life of their unborn child must be protected. Idaho, they say, is greatly concerned about the risk that mail-order abortion drugs can cause to teenage girls and prenatal life. The East Boise County Ambulance District is asking voters for help continuing to provide emergency services to the county. Voters will answer a question, yes or no. Do you want to create a new district, the East Boise County EMS District? The ambulance district says that they are struggling to provide 24/7 service with the shortage in volunteers and ambulance maintenance repairs that they cannot keep up with. Aspen Shumpert went to Idaho City to hear how the ambulance district is asking voters for help and what this may cost voters.
One of Idaho's rural counties is asking voters to help them save emergency services.
We cover 68% of the county.
The East Boise County Ambulance District serves residents across 1,300 square miles, from Grand Jean to Roby Creek.
We want to have our own governing board that is EMS driven, that understands the special needs of EMS, that can assist in the budgeting, making sure that we have the ambulances cared for the way that they should be, making sure that our county is covered and that the care of health is being taken care of.
Which means the county commissioners would no longer be making decisions for them.
Our commissioners would be the first ones to say that they don't really understand the EMS. That's why they've requested that we do this new district.
The second part voters would agree to if passing the new EMS district is slightly more taxes.
That's going to be up to the new commissioners that will set that levy.
The district can tax up to $40 per every $100,000 of assessed property value, which would be a $27 increase starting in 2026.
The max is $40. We cannot go any higher, but there is a chance that it may be lower than that. We're only going to do what is needed to run this district.
The levy rate and budget can't be set until there's a new district and a new board.
It will go to a public hearing. So we'll come up with the budget. The new commissioners of the district will go over that budget.
Then commissioners will take a vote to set that rate. The money would be used to staff ambulances full-time.
Right now we are struggling to keep our ambulance in service, not being able to find enough volunteers to staff the ambulance and to cover that time.
To operate the ambulance, there needs to be one person driving, another in the back with the patient. The district has a total of 4 ambulances, but most of the time they can only staff one fully, or sometimes none. So if they don't have at least 2 people to staff an ambulance services come from the Treasure Valley when they can.
As an outsider coming into this community, I've witnessed a lot of people selflessly take it upon themselves to help others in their most vulnerable moments.
He says he sees the district's 2 full-time employees and the 2 part-time employees almost always working overtime every week.
I've seen them make use of all the resources they have available to them, and I've seen how stretched thin the resources are of this ambulance district.
The money would also help to maintain their 4 ambulances. The district says this year they've spent about $40 grand on ambulance maintenance. At times, they've been down to just 1 of 4 ambulances running properly.
We've been running on cash reserve since 2020, and we just don't have any money left to keep that going.
If the new district doesn't pass, emergency services for the district are on the chopping block.
We're going to be struggling extremely hard.
It's now up to East Boise County voters to determine what's next for EMS.
The item needs a yes vote to pass, which is more than 50%. If it doesn't pass, the district says 24-hour service will no longer be available, and ambulance services will only be available if they are coming from the Treasure Valley. They have to call on that help. Joe. that happens only if people in the Treasure Valley can come up and give that help.
And you've been, I guess, researching and looking into this topic. I mean, this is not an isolated incident. There seems to be a commonality between communities that are asking this question.
Right, and we saw Valley County do this last year, and now they're kind of in their first year of doing this. It seems like some of those rural counties are struggling with EMS because they were volunteer, and they've been transitioning out of that and needing more funds to continue to operate.
Yeah, the growth is pretty massive, and I know there's a lot of people that are also wondering, is there something like this on my ballot?
Yes, that's a reminder. If you're looking for what's on your ballot, you can check out our in-depth voter guide right now on ktv.com, or you can text the word VOTE to 208-321-5614, and the link to the guide will go directly to your phone.
And all you need to do is send that word VOTE. I see other people sending all kinds of things. Just send that one word. All right, thanks, Aspen. Appreciate it. Well, whether it's money for school supplies, coats for kids, or Air Force in action, it's all starting today on Monday. Abby Davis has the 411 on the 208.
Parents can now apply for the Empowering Parents Grant through the Idaho State Board of Education. The grant gives $1,000 per student or up to $3,000 per family to buy education-related products and tutoring services from the Empowering Parents online marketplace. Idaho residents who filed a 2023 Idaho tax return and have children between the ages of 5 and 18 can apply online at idaho.gov. Families making less than $75,000 per year have priority. The Air Force is starting a training exercise today that will last for the next 10 days. The Air Force says during the exercise, Twin Falls residents will see more Air Force personnel and more jets taking off and landing. They'll also hear simulated battle noises and possible loud attack warning tones. The jets will take off from the Magic Valley Airport, but the exercise is taking place throughout the Mountain West area. Also happening now, KTVB's 7 Cares Coat Drive. You can help local children and teens stay warm this winter by donating new coats or making a financial donation. Now through November 16th, coat drop-off locations are set up at any Fred Meyer or Cap Ed credit union in the Treasure and Magic Valleys. All donations will be given to children and teens in need through the Salvation Army. And that's the 411 on the 208. I'm Abby Davis.
It's not every day that your work is right at your fingertips, literally. But for the Idaho State Historical Preservation Office, a little construction revealed a lot of history right in their backyard. Do you have any history you want us to dig into? Tell us about it. Or tell us anything about the show or something going around the 208. Text us your name and hashtag the 208 to the number on your screen, 208-321-5614. You never know, you might see yours live at the end of the show. Have you ever heard of an assay office? It's a facility where the quality and purity of precious metals like gold, silver, platinum, they're tested and certified there. The process called assaying involves analyzing a sample of metal to determine its composition and value. The Historical Preservation Group calls the Boise office one of the most historic and important buildings in the state of Idaho. And new finds during construction is telling us more about our past. Hunter Funk reports.
Between the bustling streets of downtown Boise stands a building that once determined the very worth of Idaho's most precious treasures. Authorized by the federal government in 1869 and $75,000 later, the Boise Assay Office was built in 1872. It played a vital role in the state's booming mining industry. The office was the final authority on what was truly worth its weight in gold. It's easy to walk past it, but just steps away from the building are traces of the past. After digging a trench to put in a new utility line from the building to the street,
we told the contractors, in certain areas, if you find anything, you need to let us know immediately. And so the work began in July. In August, I ended up with a phone call from the foreman that they had found something.
At the foundation of the building, archaeologist Chris Shaver dug up more history from the mining days.
This is a discarded crucible. There's still material in it. When the assay office would receive an ore deposit, they would place it in here and it would be put into the firing and they would basically melt it. And then we had the next one, which is a score fire, and there's quite a few of these. This even has a maker's mark. We also came across a button. This military button dates sometime between, it's a general service infantry button, and it dates to somewhere between 1855 and 1875.
At the time, it was normal for people to bury things they wanted to throw away. Like they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
It allows us to actually provide a more concrete understanding of where it came from, the time frame it came from. Because if materials are being brought in from England or Paris, there's reasons why certain things arrived at certain times.
This is just the start of some of their finds. They removed what was in the trench to finish the restoration project, but there's still more to be found.
It's exciting, the information, the research is where it really comes together. That's the part where I love it most. But it is kind of nice just to go out your back door of your office and, there's your archaeological site.
All right, what comes next? Well, they're working with the University of Idaho and their students and hope to get a grant to help them keep digging all across the lawn. They collected items that were dug up from this project, but again, they're hoping to look for more on the property.
Wow, okay, you mentioned things coming from Paris. It's not an easy feat to get to Idaho during the 1870s.
This is kind of sad, Joe. So everything that came from Boise in the 1870s, right, 1880s, they came by freight wagon.
Sure.
And this is because at the time we didn't have the railroad until 1883. So railroad would stop in northern Utah and northern Nevada. So if you were bringing it from there, you had to do by oxen, wagon, or horse, really. You would bring things from London and Paris that way. So this would have to cross the ocean, and then it would get used to test metals, and then it would just be tossed to the lawn. Isn't that crazy?
That is super unfortunate,
Yeah.
But what a super story to tell here on the 208.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
All right, Hunter Funk, appreciate your time. We will be right back.
Well, even without the benefit of a full-on day of sunshine today, temperatures have still managed to climb into above average territory. Right now in Boise, we're sitting at 68 degrees. You can see the blue sky trying to make an appearance through that dense cloud cover. It's been sunnier in other portions of our viewing area, mostly east of Boise. A little bit gray out there today, but we did manage to hit 71 degrees in Boise, so we're already cooling down. Twin Falls landed at 75 earlier today. There's been a little more sunshine out there in the Magic Valley. Even Stanley hit 60 today, but you can see it's much cooler in McCall. The high temperature observed there just mid-50s. Right now, McCall's at 52, and this is the most blue sky I've seen over Payette Lake today as I've been watching as we have a disturbance that is moving by mostly to our north. That's what's sending the clouds our way, and there is a cold front associated with that system that will knock our temperatures back down to more seasonable territory tomorrow. So here's your evening outlook. That sunset tonight is at 6:51, so we have another couple of hours before that sun will really go down. But as it does, those temperatures will stay in the 60s until about 10 o'clock tonight. Then we drop into the 50s, and clouds will likely persist through the overnight hours. I do think we'll see a little more sunshine tomorrow after this system starts clearing out. So you can see the bulk of the precipitation from this system is to the north of us, but a couple sprinkles still popping up across Valley County and portions of the Treasure Valley. I don't know that all of this has even made its way to the ground, as we're still pretty dry in the lower levels of the atmosphere, and you can see clearing already starting across northeast Oregon. So that will continue as the clouds continue their push to the east. So that will take all that precipitation with it. Here's a preview of your Tuesday. Morning temperatures tomorrow, likely in the mid to upper 40s across the Treasure Valley. So brisk, but not as nose numbing as those temperatures we saw over the weekend in the early hours. A little more sunshine likely tomorrow afternoon, but cooler. Temperatures will only hit the low 60s. Normally we're right around 62 degrees as we enter the final week of October here in Boise. So that's on par with normal. So 63 in Boise tomorrow, 66 for Mountain Home. Tomorrow in the Magic Valley, much cooler than today, a high of just 63 for Jerome and Twin Falls. Mountains, we may see the Sun Valley, Haley area get up to 60, a little cooler for McCall and Stanley. There's one other thing we're watching for the rest of the week. So here's our future cast. This is early Wednesday morning. There's another disturbance coming in that will tap into an atmospheric river that is sitting offshore right now. So you can see by midday Wednesday, a couple of rain showers pop up north of Boise. We'll likely see this band of rain fill in around dinner time on Wednesday. The exact timing may be a little off as we're still about 48 hours out from this, but just something to keep in mind. Might have a quick round of rain Wednesday evening for those outdoor activities. Some high elevation mountain snow will fall as well. It all clears out though by Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and we should see more sunshine on Thursday, though temperatures will drop again as well. So here's your 7-day outlook. Low 60s today or tomorrow and Wednesday. 54 is all we'll see on Thursday, but then warmer Friday, Saturday, back into those upper 60s as we head into the final weekend of October. We'll be right back.
All right, take a look at some of your comments. 10 and a half hour on a Monday. This person writes in, correct me if I'm wrong, but the AG stated they're not trying to ban the abortion drug, but reinstate the previous regulations. I thought it was illegal to have an abortion in Idaho unless the life of the mother or unborn child is at risk. So Scott is correct. The state of Idaho is not trying to get rid of mifepristone. The angle from the Idaho AG's office, though, is that, as Scott said, they want the FDA to restart some regulations around mifepristone that were rolled back a number of years ago. One of those regulations was having to go see a doctor in person. Another one was moving back the time frame when somebody can use it. So the state of Idaho, as the second part too, you cannot get mifepristone in the state of Idaho to use it. It is an abortifacient, I should say. So not legal in Idaho. Good points from Scott, but there's the, I guess, the vested interest from the state of Idaho because of their concerns about people using it when it's illegal. We can get to that more later. The lawsuit against mifepristone just goes to show how little they know about women's reproductive health care, and how the medication is actually used. That comment from Jay in Boise. Next, Raul continues to weaponize the Idaho AG's office to promote his own political agenda. We all get to pay for his games. Pat in Boise, yeah. I think Raul's office would tell you that this is about sovereignty and the federal government kind of circumventing Idaho's law. Kind of the angle they're going for there. We'll see how that one plays out. Tony from Boise says, Idaho doesn't have money for emergency medical services, but we have money for lawsuits attacking women's health. The state should help the county pay for Idahoans. And finally, Steve wonders if people in eastern Boise County really believe their life is not worth another $27 a year in taxes for the ambulance service. I guess we'll find out after Election Day. See you tomorrow.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.